So my buddy Chad DeRose, he just got done with his crop tour. Chad DeRose is Famoso down in Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
He is probably the most analytical motherfucker I know in this business, and actually probably the most critical thinker that I know on the marketing side.
I know who
of this
Chad
business.
is. I like him a lot.
Super good dude.
He doesn't know me, but I always watch him.
Chad is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chad just got done going from Chico to Kern County for 3 days, and there's a group of like 4 or 5 guys. There's I think it's either 2 or it's 3 groups that travel the state, different sections. Chad said, "Dude, this is the most erratic, the most erratic quality of acreage I've probably ever seen." As you drive around, right, everybody's got these big dash cams now, and you can fucking put your satellite image on like Google. He's like, "Dude, that's bearing acreage, but 25% of that orchard's fucking missing." Okay, that's bearing acreage. 50% of that orchard's fucking missing. So really, your 1.38 million acres that are in California, the quality of that shit is probably the worst it's fucking ever been, and the most fucking inconsistent it's ever fucking been.
Hey,
We should start with that.
safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me keep the heat even when I'm in foreigns. I'm heartless, cause these niggas is hating on me just because I'm the biggest, the largest, the biggest.
All right, guys, I am Doug Bruner, and I am here on behalf of the Toast podcast with the Ag Center, and I'm lucky to be here with Mike Fenn, a great buddy of mine. I was writing down a couple notes before we started. I remember Mike, when he started working at the Almond company, sleeping on my couch when my wife would leave.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday. We called it Wednesday night, and we'd go out and dick around and talking about our dreams and things of what we would do someday in our life. And Mike always wanted to move up in the almond industry, be a trader, and compliment to yourself or to you. A month ago, my father-in-law, Russell, said, "Mike's hitting it." He goes, "On all cylinders." I don't even know your age. What are you, 35?
I'm 35.
35.
Yeah.
And he, but that's, to me, is still pretty young in the dollars and cents you're trading on a daily basis and annual basis. But again, Mike, I'm excited to have you here. Unfortunately, our camera crew came late. We'll blame Mendoza on that. We'd love to hit more. I got a cold, so if you hear my boogers come out and things like that, I apologize. But Mike, I'm just excited to have you here. You're a great friend, as well as for myself to understand what's happening in the almond industry. People can catch him on what do you? I mean, kind of you give a lot of information out, and where can they? I guess this is kind of the end, but you've been giving a lot of information out. People are finding you on your YouTube and things like that. So. Yeah. Tell me about what you got going on that. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on the Almond Company's podcast room. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
This has been
My
great.
idea.
This has been a great addition.
Tagging my
So what we do is we put out videos probably at least once a month, right? So I cover the position reports.
Mm-hmm.
Position reports, for those that don't know, are every 30 days. At the end of the month, California has to report to the Almond Board about sales, shipments, where those shipments went, crop receipts, all that stuff. So I cover that every 30 days. In between that, we'll find interesting things to talk about, right? So we'll talk about the crop, we'll talk about bloom, we'll estimate the crop like dreadfully wrong. Then we'll talk about global supply. So just kind of hit and miss of in between those.
You do a really good job at that.
I appreciate it. It's on, I think it's, if you go on YouTube, I think it's Harris Family Enterprises.
Okay.
I think we've done close to 200 videos.
No, they're good. I mean,
years.
Everybody, as you know, I'm a big believer in social media information like that. And you guys, of course, followed my lead on that, and I'm happy you did.
Yes, we are not original thinkers there.
Yeah. But you guys have done an exceptional job at that. I get comments all the time.
Thanks.
So people definitely trying to find out about Almond. Definitely need to track Mike down. I'm sure we'll post everything at the end of this on what you can listen to on Mike. But let's let's dive deeper. Mike, I've known you now for, I think I've been married for 11 years. So that would be 11 years.
I think it's like 12 almost.
12, okay.
I knew you guys before.
A year before.
Yeah.
So we just had our anniversary on Saturday of 11 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So, Mike, you are one of the most dynamic guys as far as information. The other day we were on the phone and my manager was listening. He goes, son of a bitch, he's a storyteller. But I do believe you get so excited in the passion of what you do. And of course the Ag Center and the Toast, again, we trend towards the younger market. We trend towards guys, growing entrepreneurs, people, or business-minded people getting going in business. And I think you've had a passion in what you've been doing for 11 years. We're sitting here with Josh, Regina. Again, we've been talking for an hour and a half before we were supposed to start.
Yeah.
But 2 years in Europe.
Yeah.
From Road 9 to here to the Gottschalk's building.
Right.
Here in Madeira. A lot of changes from shipping department to head of sales.
Yeah.
And so what a transition from where you came. And so before we get into the almond, because everybody wants to hear you on the almond stuff, but you're tremendous at explaining it. Talk about your journey of, Mike Fenn at Fresno State, AGR guy, probably trying to get chicks, which never worked out for you, whatever that.
I got a great wife. Everything worked out just the way it should.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you found a good one.
Yeah.
In the Burketto family, and you actually met her in Europe.
I did.
Right?
I did.
So talk about just your journey over the last 11 years. And I think one thing I will say is I get a lot of calls from, before I let you just go, is from a lot of young guys. I had one the other day, incredible young guy, 22 years old. I think he's going to be a rock star in what he's doing. One of the most well-spoken guys I've ever talked to him. And it's like, he wants the world. And I know you did too. My wife always said, Mike Fenn was one of the smartest guys in my class.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he carried himself, whether you tried it that hard, you knew how to manipulate your way through the puzzle of getting what you needed to do.
Yeah.
And that's part of business too.
Yeah.
But my main thing is what one thing you've done is you've stuck, and I'm not saying it's because it's the Almond Company. I'm not going to be biased. I don't have anything. I'm not here, so I'm just saying, like, what have you stuck here for 12 years and been dedicated to your craft and growing in a company.
Yeah.
Right. I know you have some different things with the Almond Company, your own stuff. And, you've stuck it out. And I just see a lot of guys like, hey, when they call me, they're like, this is my stepping stone for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like they have it planned out. Like, I'm going to go here for 3 years. Then I'm going to go here.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go here. And by the time you get to them at 33, 34, they're kind of, it's like, hey, you've been at 5 places. What's
going on?
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I want to kind of hear your workup as well as how you've stuck in the industry, this particular position, and moved up from, sitting in a desk, getting calls from England, India, and trying to understand those people. You know what I mean? So please, Mike, I mean, you speak the language to young guys.
Yeah.
You know?
So I graduated from Fresno State in 2013. I was a ag business major.
Okay.
I met Alex in my ag finance class. And at one point in time, I had given a presentation. I had 2 classes with her. We worked on a project together. It was either ag finance or ag marketing. I can't remember which one. And I did some of the work, but Rex Barney, our old CFO back in the day, he did like most of it on the price elasticity of almonds. And, somehow Alex thought like, this guy is, halfway intelligent. And then she connected me with Russell. And 2 weeks after I graduated, I basically came and started working at the Almond company. And when I sat down with Russell, he was basically, you're going to start at the bottom. And if you can stay here long enough, I'll move you around so that you can learn the business. And so I started in the shipping department, and I was just processing paperwork. Every day you come in, is shipping instructions that you would do. Basically, okay, this container of almonds needs to move to this place. Okay, is heavy data entry. We're still using a fax machine at the time. Okay, so we were faxing information to customers. And it was, shocking to me, but I was the young guy. Okay, shut up and just do your job. And eventually I ended up managing the shipping department. And probably the biggest lesson that I learned early in my career was I thought I knew way more than I actually did. And I, over time, basically people were let go within that shipping department, and it just fell straight on its face. I will never forget a dinner that you were at with me and Russell in Germany. I go up, use the restroom, I come back, and I sit down, and you told me you're about to get your ass chewed. And the guy sitting across the table proceeded to tell Russell that we had the worst shipping department in the entire almond industry.
That.
Okay, and
I thought you were going to talk about another German situation.
No.
No. I speak story.
No. So then it was, for me, it was like, okay, I thought I knew a lot. I obviously didn't know anything. Then we brought on a guy, Anthony Segrabella, and he really helped me, straighten it out. He made a couple of really key hires.
Was he brought on when you were in Europe?
He got brought on right before I left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So Anthony really helped me set up
So he's been here probably, 8-9 years?
Yeah, maybe close to 10.
Okay, cool.
Close to 10. So he helped me set up metrics and, okay, how long is it taking for us to do these things? We stopped using a fax machine. We started, scanning things. And he really made a lot of these key hires. And it really is about the people that you hired rather than trying to do it yourself or hire younger people. So I think being a younger person and having people that are older than you kind of report to you is a power dynamic that they never teach you in school.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was really tough lesson for me to learn with people predominantly. So then I eventually moved on from the shipping department. Russell started a UK office. I moved there for 2 years.
It was a big deal.
Yeah. No, I left everything here.
I remember you leaving. It's you came to you stayed in Chowchilla before. And it was so it was kind of like a last hurrah. We were tight. It was he's gone.
Yeah.
And we didn't know when you were coming back.
I was supposed to be there for a year.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
I ended up being there for 2.
Yeah.
It was a great learning experience. I learned a lot from Ellie. She's our partner in the UK.
She's awesome.
In the process of all of it, I met my wife there. She'd been traveling. She's actually one of our growers' daughters. So we started dating kind of long distance. That really pulled me back to California, back to the Almond company.
Otherwise, you might have been there still.
Oh, 100%. I had a great time.
Yeah.
It was, you were living in the UK, single guy for a while. It was a lot of fun. I know, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how the market works. We started developing
buyers, all that.
Yeah, different relationships in the market than we historically had. And Minerva now has morphed into, kind of a pretty big business.
Mm-hmm.
Minerva's can do 120, 140 million pounds of almonds.
Wow.
So they've matured really well there. And Ellie's just fantastic. She's best partner.
Are you guys doing other than almonds?
We do a little bit. We do a little bit of Spanish almonds.
Okay.
Working on a few other things.
Okay, cool.
So I come back, Dave Bazar's kind of on his way into retirement. And so I really stepped in, behind Dave, and then really started the last, I came back in 2018. So that's been 7 years now. Basically 2 years after I came back, I really started taking over more of the sales side and a little bit of the grower relations side. And now I head the sales here at the Almond company. Again, great relationship with the people at Minerva.
Agriculture isn't just a job, it's a way of life. Ag is a personal relationship and quality products. Ag is the commitment to feeding and clothing the world. But we know ag is expensive. At the Ag Center, we understand ag because we live it. From fertilizers and crop protection to irrigation and field supplies, even reliable service providers, we have everything you need at a competitive price. Visit theagcenter.com because we don't just do ag, we are ag.
And I think as a kind of a young guy kind of coming up in this business, Russell Harris is a different type of manager, different type of boss than you would get in a pretty corporate environment, I think. But I think one of the good lessons he teaches young people is to just listen, right? Don't talk as much as you listen, and don't say something that you really don't mean. So there's been a lot of outside of those things, there's been a lot of great life lessons that I've learned here of like what to do and kind of like what not to do at the same time, you know?
Sure.
But I think I think it takes a young person 3 years to find their desk. Okay. Like the first year, you're completely lost. Second year, you kind of figure things out. The third year, you know what you have a better idea of what you're doing. But I think it's taken me every bit of 12 years to really feel comfortable with, okay, I understand the mechanisms. I understand when you pull this thread, another thing gets affected by these other decisions that you could make. And I think like if you were to your point earlier, like if you were to jump around every 3 years, you're going somewhere new. Every 3 years,
I was just going to ask that question
up.
because you're like, hey, I'm at 3 years now. And all of a sudden I feel I got it. So it's a chance to take that next leap with
it's
another
a false sense of security.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I don't think you really fully understand it. Right. I mean, especially in this business, from the processing side, okay, how you process almonds, to how you market almonds, to the grower relations side, there's a lot of facets.
You are wearing a lot of hats.
I am, and that's the cool thing about this place is you can see behind the curtain where in a corporate environment, you'd be very compartmentalized. You wouldn't see what the other sides are doing.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. Like you have chose to, there's no doubt. I don't have to ask you. There's probably people have offered you other opportunities. Other companies have tried to poach you. That's just part. You've been in the business. You're doing your thing. 12 years. You're a young guy. What has and you went to college, right? You understand. Hey, business first. Family business versus corporate. What makes you? What's the differences between those? And yes, our family is different. So
I couldn't tell you. Because I've only this is my first real job I've ever had. So I can't tell you what the other side looks like. Because this is the only thing I know, which is, relatively unstructured, which is fun. Okay. Russell just bought a Can-Am, pulls up on a low boy, and everybody's hopping in it. We're doing donuts by the plant, right? You're not going to get that anywhere else.
Well, it's like a family.
It is. It's a family business.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough to almost be treated that way. And to some degrees I have.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's fun. I can't comment on the other side because I don't know. It just seems pretty stuffy. Where this place is freewheeling.
Yeah. You hear about the court. Like you said, you're stuck in in a box.
Yeah.
Don't go outside of your box.
Yeah.
Unless, other than that, you get penalized. So yeah, for young guys, or people, or young guys, girls, anybody in business, it's kind of some people like that perfect structure, right?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I think you were able to decide structure. I can create my own structure as long as I succeed, right?
And that's been, I think all personalities are personalities are on a spectrum, right? There's just so many different types. And in this type of organization, and in maybe most family businesses, you have to be able to kind of navigate what your job is, right? I was never given a job description, right? Or, some sort of, descriptions as to what it is you're supposed to be doing. So it takes a little bit of initiative to be like, okay, here's what I want to do. and then be able to communicate that to either ownership or a manager or whatever it may be that's above you in the kind of the ranking of people in the organization, that, communicating clearly, like, look, I don't want to be this part of this type of this position within the organization forever. I do have aspirations to do something different. I do have aspirations to kind of move up in this. And in family businesses, you tend to get that, I think, more so than you would in a...
I see, and I love that.
Yeah.
And that's the way I operate my businesses. It's like, I want to see people who move up, who move or take initiative, who
want something different.
There's an opportunity here. A person can only see so many things, right? You see Elon Musk, you watch his YouTubes at night. Like, everything comes down to the people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's got some of the most exceptional people.
For sure.
There is, and he lets them think with their minds. He lets them.
But I think that critical thinking is never really taught in school. I don't think. It's usually, okay, here's kind of what you're learning. Yeah, here's what you're learning. And I think critical thinking is something that definitely sets people apart, I think. And initiative, right? I mean, having a little bit of gumption to be able to say, I'm going to go and take a little bit of initiative on this little thing over here, I think matters.
I was just going to ask you that. Like, what is the hardest part about that critical thinking? To know you are possibly going to make a mistake. For you, you're dealing with huge dollars.
Yeah.
Let's say a guy on the farm, but you're trading, you said 120 million pounds. That's a value. Let's just do $2. That's $250 million.
Yeah.
If you're off by a couple of cents, that could be up to $5, $10, $20 million. Like, you're talking significant dollars. But where do you take the, like, I'm going to go with my gut kind of, and what I've learned, and go with it. There's two things that combine together, right?
Yeah.
Gut instinct, what you've learned, what you've studied, as well as what you've,
I think it's all, again, like on a spectrum again, because it's like, look, you don't want to go out there and do something that could negatively affect the business just because you think you actually know something. And I think one of the, maybe I'm backtracking or on a tangent, but I think the one thing I've learned that's probably the most valuable is really nobody actually knows anything about the future, and we're all just guessing. So when somebody tells you this crop is X, or this is where something's going to be in X time period, it's all a guess. And so
you've read it wrong. Farmers have read it wrong.
Everybody,
right?
everybody is going to be wrong at some point in time. The cool thing about working with Russell and the people here is, like, he gets that. He's been wrong. He's going to be wrong. I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be right. As long as you're right a little bit more than you're wrong,
51%,
you're going to be okay. And, so I think initiative is more about, I see a problem, here's how I can fix it. Or here's a problem. And what you can see a lot is people say, here's a problem, tell me what to do. Right? Rather than, here's a problem, here's what I think would be good to fix this problem. You could be wrong in your analysis, I think, and that's okay. But at least you're thinking about, hey, I saw this and I have an idea that could fix this, rather than saying, tell me what to do. I don't think people want to hire robots quite yet.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at today something, our Mendoza, the guy was an hour and a half late.
Really screwing it up.
Made a wonderful video today, and it was something I said a robot could never make that, because he was one with that company, one with the person, right? You talk about grow relations. You are telling, when you call me, you tell me the story of what's happening in the industry. Tell me how that is, because you're telling a story that somebody has to interpret, right? Mm-hmm. That will affect their livelihood, right?
Yeah.
So, tell me that because you're going to call Joe Blow
Yeah.
because he's your grower. That's part of your
Yeah.
your deal. And tell me how that relationship is dealing with type of people. When you're dealing with big dollars, you're dealing with
Mm-hmm.
people's livelihood,
Mm-hmm.
which means so much to them.
Mm-hmm.
How has that been in your, last couple of years? Because I know you're taking on a lot more.
It's been, number one, we all understand kind of the economics of what almonds
for
have
sure.
been. So that's been, I've been, and anybody that's in my position within this business has been front line to the pain, right? But I think trying to take an objective, unbiased view about here's where things are. Here's my honest opinion or my honest guess of where things may head. And actually believing what you say, I think matters. And you could believe in something that's completely dead ass wrong.
Some people believe their own lies.
But I understand. But at the end of the day, it's like, look, like you're trying to do the best by people, because this business at the end of the day comes to transacting people's crops for cash. And really at the end of the day, you're dealing with people. And so I think it's like, look, here's my honest opinion. I could be completely wrong. But I believe this to be true here and now based on these sets of facts that we know. And that's the best you can do. And you're going to get it wrong. You're going to sell today and it's going to go up 10 cents and you're going to feel stupid.
In the fast-paced world of California agriculture, efficiency is everything. That's where AgCode comes in. Your all-in-one farm management software designed to simplify operations and boost productivity. Whether you're managing payroll, tracking field operations, or making real-time decisions, AgCode has a package tailored for your needs. Need payroll management? We've got you covered. Looking for scouting, task management, or pesticide tracking? No problem. Want full-scale field and operational management with harvest tracking, contracts, and budgeting? AgCode does it all. With intuitive dashboards, workflow automation, and seamless integrations, AgCode keeps you ahead of the season, so you can focus on what matters most to you, growing your crops. Join the countless growers who trust AgCode to power their operations. Let's farm smarter, not harder. AgCode, the future of farm management. Get a demo today.
So how do you deal with a grower when you made an assumption and it was wrong? And have you had that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So
the worst part is when, like in a market today, you tell
because they never call you when you were right.
Yeah, some do. Some do.
Well, good. They should. They should buy you dinner.
Shannon East, he's pretty good at it.
Shannon East is a very nice human.
Yeah.
He's nice no matter what.
100%. But I think at the end of the day, how do you deal with making a wrong call? It's going to happen. What hurts, I don't know what hurts more, like when it's financial or it's just more of a emotional deal. It's like, I sold it today and it went up 10 cents. There are some people that psychologically that hurts them more than if they sold it today and it went down 10 cents and they felt good, or they didn't sell it today and went down 10 cents. So I think there's such a psychological difference between people that when you're dealing with a market, you kind of see those things, right? Yeah. Like all of a sudden you sold a little bit of new crop today and it goes up tomorrow. Some guys can't sleep at night knowing that they left 5 cents or 2 cents or a penny on the table. Yeah. So and at the end of the day, all we are is access to a market for people, right? And so in that, I think you're just trying to give people the most transparent view in what you see. Okay. So I could tell you, Dougie, I think it's going up. Dougie, I think it's going down. At the end of the day, it's your call. You're not a pool guy. You're a call grower. So you got to live and die by your decisions. All I can do is tell you what I know here and now to what I think is true and what I think is going to happen. And it's not easy all the time. No,
and especially in the last probably 4 years, right?
Yeah.
4 to 5 years.
For sure. Yeah.
It's been, when people are bleeding, it's not.
No, but it's not fun. It's not at all. But I think maybe going to the almond market, if you're cool with that, I think that you've had, on average, California's had basically a phenomenal 20-year run. Okay.
So you're dealing with people who are not used to losing money. Right?
No, but there's guys that are also very new into the business too.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's this conglomeration of what
do you
makes
think
an
on a
almond grower.
percentage?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the acreage, it's overwhelmingly young, but I don't know if that's new entrants or just people who have developed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that's hard to make a call on that. But California was, as a grower base, was so well capitalized that number one, we planted a tremendous amount of acreage over a period of 10 years, probably. And we could hold our crops probably longer than we probably fundamentally should have.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore you saw.
Actually, there's a lifespan, right?
Yeah. 800 million pound rolling carryovers that no matter what the crop is, you can't get out from underneath an 800 million pound carryover until you sell your way out of it. And so then you kind of lead yourself to where you were, in the 23 crop, which was this eroding of people's capital base. So the pace of sales was faster than you'd probably seen in years prior. You had finally had a crop that was actually smaller. So you kind of have two things that worked in your favor. You had a smaller new crop supply. You had a decent carrying, but you sold it.
Supply and demand. I mean,
you got out from underneath
economics.
it. You got out from underneath it.
It's that old graph, right?
Mm-hmm.
Supply and demand, and price.
But you got out from underneath it, okay? And you've been moving them now. Right, you've been moving the crops. You're in a place now where you had a 500 million pound carry into the 24 crop year, which was mostly junk. So really that carrying materially was probably 300 million into a 2.7 crop. So you're 3 billion pounds of total supply.
You're selling 2.7, 2.8.
And you're probably going to ship 2.65, 2.7, something like that.
Yep.
Now your carrying's probably going to be 400, 450, but materially it's probably not going to feel like it's 400 to 450. It's probably going to feel more like it's 250 to 300.
It's the quality, everything.
And just the way that California's been reporting their ending inventory, I think people have been overstating ending inventories for decades. I think that's finally being flushed out now. And so, you finally have kind of corrected that ship. There was a nursery report that came out last week. I believe it was last week or this week.
Talking tree sales.
Tree sales. So whether or not it's the right number, because only 5 out of 8 nurseries reported, and some of the biggest nurseries probably didn't report, but the trend is correct, right? The trend is that nursery sales are headed to very low at a fast pace.
Like compared to when? Like
And
lowest of all
this
time?
was like, so if you just take it for face value, they're saying that 17,000 acres were sold basically 12 months ago in the nursery industry. The year prior was 31,000. The highest year, I think, is either 2015 or 2016 at 108,000 acres that were sold. Okay. So you're doing all the right things right now. You're selling, you're pushing trees out. You're really not replacing those trees with new nursery sales, right? So like you're finally getting the fundamentals of like the almond market itself into a sound position. And then if you like look at the acreage here in California, like it's probably the most, from a qualitative perspective, it's probably the most inconsistent it's probably ever been. You've had 4 years of pretty much like neglect, at least on the average, if not like widespread.
Talk to fertilizer companies.
Yeah.
Talk to
100%.
Where's their sales?
They're gone. They're not there.
Yeah.
So neglect is at an all-time high. Abandonments are at an all-time high. Replacement, which is non-bearing acreage or nursery sales, is at an all-time low. Then you can top on all of this. Sigma. We believe 40 to 42% of the acreage is either in whitelands or in surface water districts that on average have less than 1 acre foot of deliveries on a 10-year period. So it's like California could expand its acreage, but it's not happening for the next 5 years. So that means it's not really happening for the next 8 years because people are going to start planting probably in 5 years, but that means those nuts aren't going to come into circulation for another 3. So you probably have and again, this is my guess on the future, but you probably have an 8-year period where things are going to probably contract before they expand if they do.
When it comes to building smarter and stronger, Northern State Steel is your trusted metal building partner. Turn your vision into reality with our easy-to-use 3D builder, giving you full control of your design before construction even begins. We work with trusted contractors or your chosen GC to fully erect the structure, install windows, doors, and insulation, and handle every finish, all while meeting safety regulations and building codes. We don't just sell metal buildings, we deliver full-circle solutions tailored to your needs. Whether it's a commercial space, residential home, warehouse, ag facility, or ADU, Northern State Steel simplifies the process from start to finish. It's an eco-efficient, cost-effective investment in your property and in your future. Northern State Steel. Let's build smarter, let's build stronger, let's build the whole thing. Better buildings, better pricing, better service. That's what we do.
Yeah, you're not going to still have a lot, like you talk to the Whitelands, that 42%, I would say,
That's Whitelands plus kind of like weak surface water.
Exactly. So you're talking half of that is going to I would consider half of those are gone.
Potentially,
right? So, and then what the other thing is we start pushing into areas that are not, which are water rich, but cannot,
right. They're not going to get the yields.
The north, things like that, water, issue. They have continual issues where crops get wiped out and things like that.
And the climate's not as conducive
for sure
as a Stanislaus South,
Fresno,
Kern County, right?
Yeah, Golden Lands. That's
where it should be, like in a perfect world. But
so Mike, what is your advice to young guys coming out right now? Just whether they're getting into service business, whether they're getting into a job, a kid your age, he's 23 years old right now, gonna go sign up with another processor. Yeah. What is your advice to them?
I think what I saw that I like and I continue to like at the Almond company is like growth opportunities. Okay. So that checks a pretty big box for me. And kind of did from the beginning. Plus, I wanted to travel the world, and this type of work, the international side, fits with my background. I mean, lived in Cairo when I was a kid. So that fits a lot of things personally for me. So I think that's a big thing. Like, does the organization that you're joining or the business that you're starting really connect with you? So okay, that worked for me, and then it was really just about like consistency over time, right? I think it was just about over a relatively decent time period. Are you just staying consistent at what it is that you're doing? Are you trying to learn? Are you putting in the effort? And I think over time, you may not be the smartest guy, which I'm not, but I just try a little bit harder, willing to work a little bit harder.
You try hard.
You know what I mean? So I think that those things probably make up for the lack of into IQ levels.
One thing I wrote down too is you're a prick, or you're known as a prick. And I think having a little edge to attitude, and I'm not saying, like when I say a prick, that I mean that in a joking way. Yeah. Like having a little edge to, I want to put my feet in this industry, and I want to be good. I want to be remembered. I want to be somebody that people call upon, right? Yeah. I think there's some versus, hey, I'm going to be a fertilizer salesman. Hey, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to, right? You start moving around. It's like, what did you really do?
I think it's like this. It's consistency over a period of time.
Yeah,
that's the only way you're ever going to get good at fucking anything, playing the guitar, whatever it may be, dude. It's about time spent over and consistently.
Sure. Like you've done that, and I know you've been a blessing to my family, the Almond company, and people all over the world, right?
I appreciate that.
That's something you get to say. I can't say that, but you're talking to people all over the world every day.
Yeah.
And then you're talking to growers here that you're spreading essentially their love all over the world, right?
Yeah. Their hard work, for sure.
Their hard work every day, and what they're doing, what they manifest every day into what they're putting their thing in. And it's a hard position because you're helping them sell that. And I just think, like I said, we could talk forever, but I know we both got to get our kids. Mike's heading to Europe in the INC in a little bit.
Yeah.
Is this your 12th year, 10th year?
This is my 12th year going.
Okay. Yeah. So Mike's going to be hearing about all the bullshit that he already knows, and he's just going to
convince buyers they need to pay
be
more.
pounding people, telling them they need to pay more, and doing what's right by the growers. And I just think, I've been in the ag my whole life, and I would say, I know hundreds to maybe 1,000 people in ag. There's not many people and ag spreads in different ways. Services, there's farmers, there's processing. I would say, people listening today, there's not many, people should aspire to be like Mike. And I mean that sincerely, because you give it every day to be the best in your trade, to be the best at what you do. And it's phenomenal.
Yeah, appreciate
and
that.
I know, Russell thinks that way. I know people I talk to all the time that he's a prick, but he's good at what he does. And that's respectable. Yeah. And that's because a prick to help your grower, a prick to do right for the people you work for, right? Because essentially, the almond company essentially worked for the grower,
100%,
right? And 100%. So, or any processor, right? In general, right?
That's who you're representing.
It's who you represent. So, Mike, I want to cheers to you. We've had a bunch of these in the past.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We're married now, kids, and all the fun things. Mike has a beautiful family. And we just thank you, and thank you for people who listen today.
Thanks for having me,
All right,
Dougie.
buddy.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The largest, the big